The fight starts out with Eunomia, a heavy raid-wide attack that inflicts a bleed upon each player. Both tanks will then be targeted with Dike, a tank buster that must be swapped as it applies light or dark vulnerability to the tanks. Between each major mechanic, Themis will use 3 different casts that we'll name the Overruling Trio. Each mechanic will have Themis raise his spear and be surrounded by rings of light or dark, indicating what the next mechanic will do. Themis will then begin to cast Jury Overruling. Jury Overruling will have the party spread to their clock positions, where they will be hit by a wide Protean. If Themis charge the mechanic with light, players will drop a puddle and there will be 2 4-player stacks that the party will take east and west.
Light parties.
If Themis charge the mechanic with dark, players will drop donor AoEs beneath them before 4 players from the same role will be targeted with pair stacks. To resolve this, each DPS will rotate clockwise onto their respective support player. Immediately after Jury is resolved, Themis will cast Upheld Overruling, which will tether a random player to Themis while charging light or dark. Regardless of the colour, the tethered player must stand as centre of the arena as possible. If light is being charged, a random non-tank will be tethered, indicating that they're being targeted with a party stack, followed by a large circular AoE around Themis. Following this, 2 light party stacks will be taken east and west at max melee.
In light parties.
If dark is being charged, the tank will be tethered with a large circular tank buster. This buster is larger than the hitbox, so the remaining party members should move to max melee. After the buster resolves, a donor AoE will form around Themis and players will have to take their partner stacks on the coloured waymarks.
Can't believe it. Okay.
After Upheld, Themis will cast the last Overruling Trio, Divisive Overruling. Themis will dash across the arena in the direction that he is facing. If Themis charge the mechanic with light, the AoE will expand, and 2 light party stacks will be taken east and west at max melee.
Light parties.
If Themis charge the mechanic with dark, the initial cleave will become the new safe spot, and each player will move to their coloured waymarks for partner stacks.
Out then partners in.
Themis will then cast Styx, a multi-hit stack. Afterwards, he will begin to cast Arcane Revelation. The opposite colour to the one Themis charges here will become the new safe spot in the following mechanic. Tiles will appear on 2 adjacent intercardinals that will shoot beams of light or dark. Themis will then cast another coloured mechanic, Dismissal Overruling, which will knock players away from him. Light Party 1 will be pushed to either the 1 or 4 waymark, whichever is safe, and Light Party 2 will be pushed to the opposite, either 2 or 3. If the colour of the knockback was light, players must stay max melee and take 2 light party stacks. If the colour of the knockback was dark, a donor AoE will form under Themis and players must take their partner stacks. The tank pair on either side will move to the left waymark and the healer pair will move to the right waymark. After a small period of downtime, Themis will begin to cast Shadowed Messengers. 2 clones of Themis will appear on 2 adjacent intercardinals and cast Divisive Overruling, with one being charged with light and the other dark. Light Party 1 will go west and Light Party 2 will go east to pre-position. Themis will then begin to cast Divisive Overruling as well. Because this cast locks in the position of Themis, the main tank can point Themis in the same diagonal as the light clone to simplify this whole mechanic. Players will then dodge into the dark clone's cleave. If Themis charge Divisive with light, players will stay max melee and take 2 light party stacks.
I love this iteration.
If Themis charge Divisive with Dark, players will move into the safe spot and then the healer pair will move right and the tank pair will move left into the new safe zone. During the cleaves, a light clone and a dark clone have spawned on a random cardinal or intercardinal. These clones will cast Upheld Overruling, with one always targeting a random tank and another always targeting a random non-tank. The targeted tank will pull their tether to the closest cardinal or intercardinal at max melee, and the rest of the party will stack underneath Themis in the center of the arena. After both Uphelds resolve, the party will join the targeted tank in the new safe spot, before quickly returning to their spread positions for another Jury Overruling. From Ours, in, then back to your Proteans. It's going to be partners. Afterwards, Themis will cast another Styx multi-hit stack before casting Lightstream. 3 orbs will appear around the arena, with spinning arrows around them, which indicate the direction they will move a continuous line AoE. As one of the orbs will always be spinning the opposite direction to the other 2, the simplest way of resolving this is to find 2 orbs of the same colour. If they are blue, the safe spot is to the left of the pair. If they are orange, the safe spot is to the right.
What? D.
Themis will then cast another Divisive Overruling. Light Party 1 will go to the left of Themis, and Light Party 2 will go to the right to resolve either light or dark. If Dark is charged, the healer pair will enter the safe spot on the right, and the tank pair will enter the safe spot on the left. Yeah, it's very easy. Alright, Light Party 1 left, Light Party 2 right, tanks left, healers right. After another Eunomia and an Upheld Overruling, Themis will begin to cast Dark and Light. Much like the normal version, players will be inflicted with either Light's Discord or Dark's Discord. Each DPS player will also be tethered to a support player with either a single coloured light or dark tether, or a tether with 2 colours. Tethers with 1 colour will need to be stretched far, whilst 2 colour tethers must have both players stand close to each other. To resolve these tethers, all support players will move to the left if they have light, or to the right if they have dark. For DPS players, they will move left if they have dark, and right if they have light. Once these tethers are resolved, Light or Dark's Discord will turn to Light or Dark's Accord and must be kept this way for the whole mechanic. Failing to resolve tethers will result in a dot being applied and heavy damage for both players.
I am the emissary, and I shall never die.
Themis will then cast Arcane Revelation again. Much like before, the colours shown here are the opposite to the safe spot. 4 orbs will then appear, with 2 light and 2 dark on opposite cardinals. If the cardinal the party is on is not safe, both light parties will rotate clockwise to the next safe spot.
Yeah, I'm moving to dice.
While the party was rotating, Themis will have begun to cast Jury Overruling again. The party must get into their Protean spread positions whilst also still resolving their tethers. To do this, the light long player plants on the cardinal the party just rotated to, the dark long player will move to the next intercardinal, and the short players will move to the next cardinal or intercardinal after that. The short support player will take the cardinal, and the short DPS player will take the intercardinal.
Yeah, I'm moving to dance.
Partners after. Partners after.
If charged with light, the short players will move away from the boss and the long players will rotate clockwise to meet them.
Light parties. Light parties.
If charged with dark, the short players will move away from the boss and take the stack together, whilst the light long player will rotate clockwise onto the dark long player. Oh god.
Ooh.
It's fine, it's fine. Each light party will then plant on the closest cardinal, as Themis will begin to cast Divisive Overruling. If charged with light, the party will rotate clockwise to the next cardinal for their light party stacks.
Yeah, go to the cardinal. Yeah, lucky. Light parties.
Light parties. Yep. We
Max
take it
melee,
right
max
here.
melee, max
Right
melee.
here, right here. Same X's as always.
If charged with dark, the long players will rotate to dodge the cleave and then step in to take their pair stack together. The short players will rotate further and step in to take the pair stack as well.
Partners after.
Dwarfs
Rotate
move.
clockwise, yeah.
Dwarfs moving.
Partners as well after.
As
After Divisive is resolved, Themis will cast Emissary's Will, dispelling the tethers. After another Styx multi-hit stack and Dyke Tank Buster, Themis will cast Dark Current. 3 large AoEs will spawn across the arena in a line. Group 1 will move either north or west, and Group 2 will move either south or east, whichever side is safe. The 3 AoEs will rotate in a direction indicated by a glowing ring around Themis, and each player will have an AoE drop on them as they begin to rotate. Range players will follow their AoEs on the outer edge, and melee players will move close to follow their AoEs.
thanks for that.
Ranged out. Rotating clockwise.
Clockwise. Fucking spring. Proteins after.
Yep. Afterwards, Themis will do another Overruling Trio, a Eunomia, and then begin to cast the last new mechanic, Letter of the Law. The party will preposition southeast and the tanks will preposition northwest. Themis will then cast Twofold Revelation. Similar to Arcane Revelation, the safe spot will be the opposite colour. Tiles on 2 adjacent intercardinals and 4 orbs on cardinals will appear again. The party will move to the closest safe orb and preposition themselves to not be cleaved by the upcoming tile laser. At the same time, one tank and a random non-tank will become tethered for an Upheld Overruling. The non-targeted tank will move and join the group on the opposite side of the arena. The targeted tank will wait for the lasers to go off before taking his tether to the center of the arena. After both Uphelds are resolved, the party will move into the new safe spot in the center. 4 enumeration towers that have already spawned will then need to be soaked. As each tower requires 2 players to resolve, partners will move to the tower on their coloured waymark. Immediately after resolving their tower, players will have to move west or east to dodge 2 clones who are casting Divisive Overruling. Dodging into the dark clone safe spot, Themis will then cast Dismissal Overruling. Players must either use anti-knockback or move close to get pushed back. They then must either resolve light parties east and west, or move into the donor AoE to their coloured waymarks to solve partner stacks.
MS himself could do no
Dark is
Dark
safe.
Orb.
And the tank is the one going to the middle. Remember your enums. Pop sprint. Wait.
Middle, then tower.
Yep. Tower.
Tower,
And
then
then
BD.
BD. And then cleanse.
Yeah, as soon as it resolves, BD. Now.
1-3.
magics are not for you.
Knock
Now-
back into pairs.
Yep.
In.
Nemesis will then immediately cast another Styx multi-hit stack. After another Dyke, Tank Buster, a Jury Overruling, and a Eunomia, Nemesis will cast Ultimate Verdict, his Enrage. Yep, hard if you can.
Pneumonia first. Pneumonia.
Pneumonia. Missing.
Yeah, keep going, keep going.
Yeah,
Go,
it's
go, go,
dead.
go, go, let's go.
Kill it.
Fucking
Fucking
kill
kill
it.
it. Kill these
It's dead,
fucking
it's dead.
bitches. Let's fucking go, dude.
Easy.
Well done.
Dude, Deco joins your draft this week.
Just as we did, yeah.
Oh my god, dude. It's so
What,
quick.
60, 64? 64?
Yeah, dude, we needed 3 more pulls. Oh my god.